If your meta ads aren't getting sales, stop relying on meta ads targeting. It's quietly burning your budget. I'll show you exactly why it fails, and if you stick around to the end, I'll expose how we literally steal high intent customers to become instantly profitable. I know these strategies deeply because my company has spent 7 figures on Google ads and meta ads and have scaled multiple companies across Google and Meta. For example, if we look over here, this client was running meta ads and we took over in July 2025, which was here at 15 grand a month. As you can see, he was doing relatively okay with a few months scaling up. However, when we took over in July, we really turned everything up to the next level and started generating him consistent profitable months all the way up into 70 and 80,000 per month in less than 12 months. And looking at Google, we took over this account and in May 2024, he was getting 7 leads at $217 for a 500 to 1500 AOV product. And in May of 2026, 2 years later, he was getting 84 leads at $28 per lead, just over a tenth of the cost per lead and over 10 times the volume. We often take over accounts that are bleeding their owners dry with terrible targeting. And we're just not talking about theory here. This is exactly what we would do for our clients in the agency to change their result from unprofitable to profitable. So let's jump in. So to stop wasting money on meta ads, you need to understand the difference between interest targeting and intent targeting. Here's the first and most obvious mistake you're making: relying on Meta's interest targeting. If you're building an audience on generic interests like fitness, marketing, real estate, you are throwing money away. Meta guesses what people's interests are based on hovering over a post for a few seconds, clicking a like, or some vague other metric. These are people passively scrolling, not in the mindset to buy. If you rely on Meta to guess their intent, you're going to pay a ton for low quality clicks. Before we move on how to use Google to fix these mistakes, if you want to keep learning on how to protect your ad spend and lower your cost per acquisition, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Now, before you spend another dollar trying to get Meta's algorithm to find your right buyers, ask one question: is anyone actually Googling your product and services? Because if they are, you're doing it backwards. Meta shows your ads to people who aren't in a buying position. They're looking to be entertained. So you're paying to try and convince someone to buy your product or service who wasn't actively looking for you or your service or product itself. Whereas search is a demand capture channel. The buyer has already made the decision that they want to buy this product or service. Now they're just choosing who their supplier is going to be. Now, one of those two is a much shorter path to revenue. Now, here's how to find out if someone's searching for your product or services. Right, so the first thing you want to do is go to ads.google.com. And if you're brought to a page like this, and you want to click Start Now, or if you've already got a Google Ads account, click Sign In. Now, you'll be prompted, obviously, if you sign up, to get a ad credit that's still available in your country. Now, once you sign up, you'll get to an account. Now, in your creation process, as you go down to get you to create your first campaign, as down the bottom of the page, as you're entering your details in, there'll be a option to create an account without a campaign. Now, it's going to ask for your card details and whatnot, but you can ignore that for now. What you want to do is on the left here, there'll be a section called Tools, and under Tools, there'll be a section called Planning, and there'll be Keyword Planner. Now, since you don't have any ad spend yet, you'll get ranges of between 10 and 100K or variations, whereas my planner will look slightly different because we're spending money, so we get more exact searches. However, what you want to do is you want to start by discovering new keywords. Now, you don't want to search volume forecast because that uses your historical account to generate an average return. So that uses your existing account to factor in with the results. And because you have no results right now, these will be skewed. So to discover new keywords, the first thing you want to do is you want to change either your language or your location. And the second thing you want to do, you want to start by entering in the phrases that your buyers are going to be typing in. So if you're selling something like jigsaw puzzles, you want to type in a buying term like buy jigsaw puzzle. Once you have something like this, you click enter, and it will turn it blue. Blue means you're looking at a particular phrase. Now, if you go get results, it's going to come up here with number 1, the search volume per month, and number 2, the cost per clicks that you'll be paying, and the term itself. So for example, if you look at top here, you go broaden your searches. If you looked at things like jigsaw puzzle as a more generic option, you're going to get more and more search volume. So jigsaw puzzle has 22,000. Certain brands have bigger and bigger volume. What we want to do is you want to have a look at the terms that are going to be both high volume and high intent. So you want to avoid things like free. Now, for example, if you're looking down here and you go, great, I sell wooden puzzles, or I have an online jigsaw opportunity, or I sell certain puzzle piece volumes, you want to look at adding these keywords in it. Now, this alone, there's 2,900 people every single month searching for wooden puzzles. Now, instead of going on Meta and targeting people who are interested in puzzles, you can show your ads to people who are actively looking for your puzzles already. Now, if you went down here into the lower volumes, you'd have things like brands, for example. And then as you go down, you'd have things that are more buying personalized. So 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles, 880 people, 500-piece puzzles, 880, and on and on and on. My original suggestion here was if you look at buy jigsaw puzzle, you see the volume drop significantly, but you are looking for people actively trying to buy your product rather than just showing your ads to people who say, hey, this product might interest you. If you're a local lawyer doing wills, you might say, for example, will lawyer, and then you'd want to look at search volume. And let's say instead of Australia as a whole, let's say you just service Sydney. Instead of saying, hey, I want to target people who are of a certain age in a certain location, saying, do you have a will? You can skip all that and target people who are just looking for will lawyers. And as you can see, there's 480 people a month, every single month, searching for lawyers who do wills. Now, you can always tighten this up and do things like will lawyer Sydney or will lawyer near me, or any sort of variation of your products. Now, for example, will lawyer, not that popular. However, will lawyer near me in the Sydney area, significantly better. So the way you want to read this is you want to look at the average monthly searches first, because that's going to be your meaningful volume. And then you want to look at the quality of terms to make sure that they're buying terms. So things like near me, certain suburbs, and things like that are going to indicate people who are looking to take action quicker. The second thing you want to look at is the competition and the cost per clicks, because as you may or may not know, Google is an auction product. You're only going to show up as long as you have the budgets for it. So you want to look at keywords that have high intent, and then you want to ensure that the cost per clicks you're paying are going to be profitable for you. Now, if there's low or no search volume, then no one knows your brand or your category, and that's where Meta excels. If the product isn't known, isn't searched, Meta is where you go to show your product. However, if it is known and there is meaningful search volume, Google is going to get you a much better return because the targeting is going to be so much more precise. Now, most businesses assume they're in the second bucket, that they need to be on Meta to show their service and show their brand. However, very few actually are. The reality is most people know about your service that you're offering or the product you're selling and are searching by the tens of thousands a month across a variation of keywords. Now again, you can change your location to wherever you want as long as you can service that product. You can target multiple countries, or you can go right down to specific postcodes or cities depending on what you do and who you service. Now, using the keyword planner and finding out if your service or product has demand is one thing, but knowing how to read it and how to use that data is critical. So if you want our expert team to step in, have a look at things for you, and tell you honestly if Google is the right channel for you, click the first link in the description and book in our free Google Ads audit. And right after that, go watch this next video on how you can accurately track your returns on Google Ads. So we're tracking the exact return and you'll never fly in blind on Google Ads. Go click that video right now and I'll see you over there.